I hope you've watched the introduction video for what Rainbow Group is and have a good idea of what I'll be presenting on this channel, so that we can kind of make sure all the housekeeping's all taken care of. But if you want to just dive in, you're more than welcome to. This is going to be a short video detailing what I believe to be step one in the Soulpreneur journey. And it took me a little bit, like, it's not linear, right? You kind of are finding things out as you go. And so when I say step one, ideally this would be the starting point, the foundation. But I feel like any of this journey, just like your soul development, your personal evolution, can be hit along the way. And obviously I found came to a lot of these as kind of more of a happenstance or reflection, wishing that I had had that foundation already, which is why I wanted to create this channel, to give information and experience and knowledge to you so that you can have just more clarity and guidance, or that I had, or wish that I had. So I think what is so unique in the Soulpreneur journey, I'm kind of just going to keep saying that, I hope it's redundant, but to me it's just makes so much sense, especially comparing with the hero journey and the evolution of the soul, because it runs the gambit. Like, unless you have participated in being an entrepreneur, but additionally a spiritually based entrepreneur, there are just experiences that are so difficult, almost impossible to explain and empathize with. But that being said, what makes it so unique is that there is a greater purpose, generally speaking, especially if you are offering healing services, or even if you're just offering healing tools. But having spiritual desires or knowledge or experience drive your entrepreneur endeavor really gives it a whole different breadth and a whole different set of issues too. I mean, I don't want to add a negative tinge, but I do want to be realistic. And issues don't have to be horrible or terrible or scary or terrifying. They're just obviously going to be things that we have to confront, point blank. And just because you're a spiritual practitioner, just because you're offering healing to others, just because you feel like you've done your shadow work and you're in a good place, doesn't mean that you're not gonna hit those snags, that you're not going to be confronted with those same things. And just because you are, doesn't mean that you're also not strong in your practice, right? I think a lot of times we get caught up in this community believing that, oh, well, I've been doing the work, I have things so figured out, I've been shining light on this issue for some time, why am I still struggling in this area? I mean, sugar, that just might be the thing that you've got to handle in your life. That just might be your greatest gift that you haven't figured out yet. There's so many different things, or maybe there's a pattern, you know what I'm talking about. But just make sure that you're doing your consistent daily work throughout this process. It's going to be so pivotal, so important. You have to have that foundation. And that really is number one. If you don't have that relationship with yourself, if you don't have that relationship with the realm that you are a steward of, that you are a mouthpiece for, an ambassador of, then I think it's going to be a much more difficult process for you, because you're also going to be learning a lot about your relationship with that along the way, let alone the entire forming and creating of a business entity. So that's where it gets complicated, right? Because it is a dual situation. You don't just have these typical three-dimensional business I'm trying to think of the word, I'm at a loss. Things. Necessities, requirements, there you go, that's what, or requisites. You also have this entire other dimension that you're working alongside, that you're tapping into, and that you're trying to marry with the 3D. I mean, we're creators here. We're creating with the resources, the elements of the three-dimensional world. It's not a battle. It's not one versus the other. These are our tools. These are our mediums. This is the paint that we're painting, with which we are painting the canvas. and we're just kind of bringing another perspective in the mix, a beautiful, healing perspective that's full of love and light. And that's really it, right? Seeding the light. And so if you're not seeding the light consistently with yourself on your own as an individual, then I just am going to tell you, this is going to be a lot more arduous of a journey than it needs to be. So if you feel like you've got that figured out, because I sure as heck did, or I felt like that when I was coming into this, I want you, though, alongside with this step one. So you're listening to my video and I'm asking you to have a strong, consistent daily practice. Let's say you're someone exactly like me who is an energy worker, and if someone had said that to me when I first started, I would have been like, oh, okay, just get on to step 2. I've got this covered. I've been doing this for a long time. Like, come on. I don't have time for a 5-minute video. What I want you to do is go inward, ask why you would assume your practice is stagnant, period. Why it is important for you to be validated in having a consistent practice, and why you would initially have an egoic response of wanting to be defensive if someone is asking about your practice. That was something that I had to come to on my own for sure when I was challenged about my daily practice, because I had to realize I'm a cyclic being. We're cyclic beings. My practice is going to start over and cycle and grow and expand every single day, as it should. And I feel like we kind of get stuck in kind of walling off our personal practice, like this is mine, this is my secret, sacred thing. But when you take a step back and separate your ego, separate your mind from what that practice looks like, and maybe take an opportunity to begin again as a practitioner, as an entrepreneur with a spiritual focus, what will be different about your practice? What does your practice now need to provide for you that it might not have provided before? What parts, if you would like to even journal this prompt, what parts of yourself are you seeking to access or tap into? And how can your practice highlight that? How can your practice enhance that? How can you use your tarot, your pendulum, your other divination, your channeling, your spirit guides, your teachers, your mentors, your ancestors, your allies daily in seeking to tap into those gifts, those attributes that you as a spiritual entrepreneur would like to exhibit? I think that this is a really cool investigatory line, because there's so much that comes up in your personal development as an entrepreneur, whether or not you're spirit-based, and being able to witness that with all your spirit team consistently, daily, supporting you, encouraging you, and giving you insight is really going to help you maintain your energetic focus. Oh, let me tell you, if that is not the greatest challenge of this, I don't know what is. Staying focused, staying aware, keeping that envisionment aligned and attuned. But we'll talk more about that. So just take a moment if you can, reflect on what your daily practice is currently, what it has been, and what you would like it to continue to be. And you have to keep investing in it every day. I cannot stress that enough. Every single day. If you wake up in the morning, you're having an off day, I mean, it's totally fine. Like, listen to your intuition. You know what's best for you. But the more energy you put into your practice, the more expansive it's going to become, the less habitual and obligated you're going to feel as well. And the more just intuitively enhanced, intuitively designed it will be. You'll see your connection with yourself, your business especially, become, and the collective, just become more authentic, more generous, and more aligned. I promise you that. So I would really encourage you to dial in and see what that brings up for you. Thanks for tuning in.